Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. Lord of the End Times Archaon, the Ever-Chosen here, going to be facing off against the Vampire Counts. This is a replay from good old Sarmation here, so let's get straight to the builds. We've got Archaon here, unit of Chaos Knights with Lances, a couple of spawn, one of which is the Weird Spawn. We've got 2 Aspiring Champs, and the Mirror Guard, Swords of Chaos as well, and yeah, the aforementioned Horse Masters. Very interesting choice. For the Vampire Counts, we've got a Neckarch, 2 Terror Geese, some Fell Bats, and in the main line here, front line of Zombies, second line of Spears, and Skeleton Warriors. Looks like some Crypt Horrors, a couple Banshees, and a Mortis Engine mixed in there as well, so definitely looking for a Death Star style of play and just doing some mobile skirmishing with these flying units, using the breaths and so on to good effect. So far you can see just Spirit Leech on Archaon. He's going to take a little bit of damage from that, and from those breath attacks as well, but he does manage to make okay contact with that Mortis Engine, and you can see the Swords of Chaos just getting very aggressive here. There's really nothing that can stop them in this pocket. I mean, even if the Mortis Engine does try and come over here, they'll probably just delete it, but they're going to pull away there, not wanting to get dragged down too hard by attrition, but got some good damage in. Granted, they're just fighting zombies, but still, clearing out that chaff definitely pretty important. As for the rest, Chaos Knights moving up. The Horse Masters are an interesting pick here because of the extra armor. I do believe they have higher base missile damage as well. I don't tend to find myself using them terribly often, but they will hold up much better against like zombie summons and things like that. Archaon, though, the 1 Terror Goose drops down right on top of him, and you can see the Horse Masters come in to kind of screen his avenue there. And yeah, we've also got the Neckarch Vampire Lord here. Apologies about the noise outside, guys. I don't know if you can hear that motorcycle, but it is quite loud. Anyway, Invocation of the Heck on this Terror Goose here, and you can see Sarmation's army, because it's so narrow, he can kind of dictate the pace of the battle here and not really give into this massive blob fight. Another beautiful charge by the Swords of Chaos getting in here, just wrecking those zombies. You can see the Mortis Engines being pushed off of combat right now. Definitely needs to get in here and start to drain some of these units, give some healing to the various Vampire Counts units, but so far balance power still very even. The Neckarch has taken a bit of damage, but yeah, it's pretty close so far. We've still got the Weird Spawn fighting here, obviously the Chaos Knights. The Chaos Knights will actually do quite well in keeping the Terror Geese on the ground. And yeah, the Zombie Summon will not really be able to bog them down. Chaos Knights do have good enough mass that they can push through zombies, it looks like. But yeah, the Terror Goose taking quite a bit of damage. Of course, the extra fire damage from the Swords of Chaos is excellent. And oh man, this is a nasty blob here for this Overcast Burning Head to go on. And that is going to allow Archaon to then get a hold of the Banshees, because of course Archaon does magic damage. Looks like he just vanquished a Banshee there. And probably going to be going after the other one, I would imagine. She's still kind of mixed in here. Maybe not, but Archaon has taken quite a bit of damage, so he's going to have to be careful. Meanwhile, over here, the 2 Geese are fighting the Swords of Chaos and the Chaos Knights. Honestly, this is probably just a fine engagement. I mean, normally the Chaos Knights with Lances wouldn't be, you know, the best in just a sustained melee fight like this. But, you know, with the support of Archaon now, and with the support of these other units here as well, can definitely be pretty strong. So, yeah, good stuff. You can see the Neckarch, looks like he's just using that Arcane Conduit, trying to get a bit more Winds of Magic, and the Mirror Guard and these other units haven't even engaged yet. They've just been, you know, letting the blob kind of form around these Weird Spawn and then firing in, which is definitely an effective strategy. We'll see. It looks like 1 Goose did go down, and the other one is about to go down to the Swords of Chaos as well. Excellent use of those Swords of Chaos here. I almost wonder for the Chaos Knights as well if it would have been better to take the Sword and Shield version. Another beautiful Burning Head just ripping apart this giant blob of undead troops. You can see that's going to send many of them into crumbling. And yeah, the Horse Master is skirmishing them back, and probably going to get this sort of main contingent here engaging soon. Yep, looks like they're pushing forward. If the champs, if the Aspiring Champs manage to match up against the Banshees, they will be able to cut them down pretty efficiently, but it looks like the Banshees maybe not going to be in direct contact with them. But regardless, at this point, balance power is starting to shift in Sarmation's favor, as he's just slowly grinding through, and a couple of excellent burning heads. Of course, the loss of the 2 Terror Geese was also pretty huge as well. Swords of Chaos now moving in for a beautiful rear charge in this giant vampire blob. I mean, Obviously, plays into the Mortis engine, but the Mortis engine itself is potentially going to be in danger. Looks like the Chaos Knights pull over to the side there. And Neckarch actually dives down in here, which is a super, super risky play. And yeah, the Vampire Counts player going to go ahead and admit defeat there. That Neckarch, there's no way he's getting back up in the air. And Archaon was about to eat his lunch. Speaking of eating lunch, 432 kills on Archaon from those 2 Overcast Burning Heads. It's so good for clearing out chaff in this kind of a matchup. And because he didn't have many of his own infantry to worry about burning, you know, the blob kind of formed around his very small core, and it ended up working out quite well. 108 kills on the weird spawns, also quite good. Horsemasters didn't get that many kills, but they did get consistent damage against the Terror Geese, which is always nice. 35 kills on the Swords of Chaos, and again, just that fire damage, that armor piercing, very strong against these Terror Geese. The Neckarch, I'm not sure if I'm that much of a fan of the Neckarch here, or just in general. I think most of what he can give you, you can get better from Manfred, or else just take another Lord. The one issue, we'll kind of talk about this a little bit more. I mean, there's kind of 2 schools of thought as I look at it, right? There's Manfred, and then there's the other guy, right? So Manfred, I mean the Manfred and the Neckarch both have sort of a extra magic focus. So with the Neckarch, you get the Lore of Death attribute and the Lore of Wild attribute, which gives you a bit of extra Winds of Magic. He also has Arcane Conduit, which makes him relatively unique on the Vampire Counts roster. Spirit Leech is a pretty common spell. He's also got Invocation of Nehek and Raise Dead. No Dance Kebab, which is a little bit disappointing for me. But yeah, pretty basic loadout, honestly, and you can take him for relatively cheap, right? Like in that guy's, he was maybe about 2,000 points, give or take. Yeah, something like that. Whereas if we compare to Manfred, now Manfred also has his ability here, Master of the Black Arts, basically like Arcane Conduit. He also has Life Leeching, but no Wild Heart, so not quite as much passive Winds of Magic there. He has the full Lore of Death and the full Lore of Vampires, obviously, though, so typically I would run him with, like, Raise Dead, Dance Kebab, and maybe just Spirit Leech, just to get that going. And then, yeah, if we put him on the Hellsteed, I mean, he's really not that much more expensive. I mean, granted, you do want to have this Sword of Unholy Power, which gives you extra Winds of Magic, of course, when he's in melee. So he is a bit more expensive than the Neckarch, but not by much. And so what does that give you? Well, significantly more HP, 20 more armor, which is quite a bit. And from what I've found, that kind of like 70 to 80 to 90 is where the real, like, that kind of spacing is the most important. And if you can go from 70 to 90, in my opinion, that's a lot more impactful than going, say, like 50 to 70 or 30 to 50, right? So just the extra armor obviously helps quite a bit there. He has way better stats too, 20 melee attack, 50 melee defense, better weapon strength, better charge bonus, just better all around, of course. And yeah, the Sword of Unholy Power does mean that in order to really optimize him, you are going to be needing to use him in melee. So I kind of get taking the Neckarch as an alternative to him, especially in a matchup where you don't necessarily want your Lord involved in combat, because like somebody like Archaon can eat your lunch. But yeah, I just think that for what the Neckarch offers you, I think Manfred can do most of the same things, just better. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on that. I don't honestly play the Vampire Counts too much, so I don't know how qualified I am to be giving out advice. But yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting. The other thing too, I would say from that build is Crypt Horrors I've found to be pretty poor. I mean, a unit, yes, they have regeneration, but only 25 melee defense and 15 armor means they are very squishy, very easy to take out. I would have much to have preferred to have seen, like, even just a unit of Black Knights instead, just some kind of mobility so that you don't just fully fall into that big blob game. I mean, obviously he had the mobile Terror Geese, but yeah, I think it's interesting. The Mortis Engine's also potentially interesting pick as well. I mean, Chaos doesn't have that many good missile units to deal with it, so I definitely get it there, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. And now from here, I guess, what did he have? A whole bunch of zombies, a whole bunch of skeleton warriors, I think. Yeah, a couple skeleton spears. And then I know I'm missing some stuff. The double Banshees, of course. Yes, yes, yes. Which Banshees got cheaper in the last patch, which is just great. Makes taking that double Banshee all that better. And yeah, I mean, at this point we could kind of play around with some different things. Maybe try and just bring more infantry. You could maybe upgrade these Black Knights to have lances and barding. Again, cut a little bit more costs, and you could go all the way up to the Varix Reavers, which would be quite good. I mean, granted, they are going to be weak to fire damage, so they'll get killed pretty hard by the Swords of Chaos, but personally, for me, I like going with a more cavalry-focused build. I mean, obviously, having a couple Terra units is pretty key. The Ethereals as well, I think, are just a bit risky against Chaos. I would drop these two for White Kings instead. White Kings are cheaper anyway, and they just give your front line kind of a bit more punching power and sustainability. And yeah, from there, that leaves us with 1,600, so we could almost afford a unit of Blood Knights. If we went and cut one zombie, then we could take some Blood Knights. Definitely recommend having some kind of cav, but let's say, just for the sake of argument, we only want one Terror Goose. We're going to get, yeah, 2 units of Blood Knights here, and then for the rest, we can probably just grab maybe another Skeleton Warrior or something. Yeah, you can definitely play around with this and see. Maybe you grab like a Corpse Cart for the Vigor Mortis, even just the basic Corpse Cart at 250, regenerating meat bag with a melee attack and defense buff. Pretty decent. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Again, I don't play vampires a ton, so I'm not necessarily an expert, but just in my opinion, Manfred, it gives you everything the Neckarch does, but better. And yeah, against Chaos, I think Ethereal units are a bit questionable, so definitely would recommend the White Kings instead. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.